And I told her at that time, I said, listen, I'll have kids if you were absolutely like, I need to have kids for us to like be in a marriage together. I said, I would have kids, but I would be reluctant in doing so. Like I saw that was extremely selfish for me to just go nuclear and say, I don't want kids. Like it's one of the most selfish things ever.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, I got one.
All right, let's go.
So let's say your fiance, she says that she wants kids, right? So she wants 3-4 kids.
Sure.
You get married 4 or 5 years later, whenever that you're like, okay, I think we should probably start having kids.
Yeah.
You ask, and your wife says, oh, yeah, I don't want kids. And that starts a conversation. Mm-hmm. Later in the conversation, she says, actually, I had a secret hysterectomy, and I cannot have kids even if I wanted to. I went nuclear. I changed it. I can't have kids.
So when you say hysterectomy, you mean like she's in menopause now, not like tubes tied. She went like, yeah, I stopped my period, everything.
Yeah, she would be in menopause technically. So,
which means everything is dried up on top of not having kids.
Man, can you imagine like a 30-year-old going through menopause?
That'd be mom.
Yeah, she did, didn't she?
She did. Yeah, she had a hysterectomy at like 30.
Golly. All right, well, what would you do? Like, she went nuclear. She says, I don't want kids. Not only do I not want kids, and I'm not including you in the conversation.
Yeah.
We're not doing it. And so she did that. It's kind of like you getting a secret vasectomy.
Yeah, but vasectomies can be reversed.
Right. I guess this is worse.
That would be worse.
So the question is this grounds for a divorce? I say yes, 100%. Now, biblically, is it grounds for divorce? No.
No, it's not grounds for divorce biblically.
But as a man, like, you want a lineage. You want kids. You want to carry your name. All those things. And your wife went full-blown nuclear and took that decision from you.
Here's a qualifying question. Are this couple that we're talking about, are they believers?
Why does that matter?
It matters.
Let's say cultural Christians. So in the middle somewhere.
Well, in the middle, I mean, they get spit out. So
I mean, you're right, but most people are
then let's say no.
Nominal Christians.
Okay, but if that's the case, then just say no.
Okay, no.
They're not practicing Christians.
Yeah. I mean, they would say so on a survey, but that's about it.
Okay. If they're not believers, then do you even need biblical reason for divorce if you're not even a believer?
I mean, if they're calling themselves Christians and you're a Christian as well and you want to, I don't know, that's tough.
That's my divide. Like, if they're believers, then you have to hold to what is the biblical reasons for divorce. Well,
that's another conversation. It's kind of like, and we're not going to get into this because it's into politics, but
sure,
like gay marriage.
Sure.
Whether you think that needs to be legislated or not, you're pushing your morals onto society.
It's not pushing your morals onto society. It's holding believers accountable to.
No. You're pushing that on to non-Christians as well.
Actually, I'm not. In fact, I'm doing the exact opposite. I'm saying if they're believers, then they need to hold to the biblical standard of marriage and the rules of divorce. If they're non-believers, then, I mean, they're playing house anyway. They're treating marriage as a contract rather than a covenant. Contracts can be broken. If you're not a believer, then you're not really bound to the confines of...
Okay, but do you think that we ought to, not to get political, but do you think that we need to make it to where, like, homosexuals cannot get married, right? Okay, if you think that that should not be legal for those individuals to get married, you're pushing your Christian beliefs onto those other people.
Having definitions and holding a standard in society, like norms in society. For example, okay, yeah, you can find polygamy in the Old Testament. I still wouldn't. I don't think that polygamy is going to benefit society as a whole. Therefore, I don't think polygamy should be legal. So just because we have some rules around marriage from a political perspective or from a governmental perspective, that doesn't necessarily mean that we shouldn't have any kind of standard at all.
Yeah. And I guess like your position when it comes to should this person get married or get divorced, we're not talking about legally. Legally, they can do whatever they want.
Legally, yeah. There's not even a question there. I mean, the majority of states in the United States have no-fault divorce. So neither party, it's just irreconcilable differences or whatever bullcrap they want to label it as. I'm saying if you are in covenant, aka you're a believer, there is a higher moral standard put on you for how you are to conduct yourself within marriage, and also that marriage being dissolved.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so going back to what we were saying, like, forget, legally they can do whatever that they want.
Yeah,
but your opinion is there's no biblical reason for divorce.
There's no biblical moral justification for a divorce in that context. Now, it can still ruin the trust and the fabric of their marriage, and it can cause other issues down the road that could lead to divorce.
Well, what about a previous conversation that we had to where the prompt was then, if your wife had an emotional affair for 6 months, would you rather that be the case, or she had a, drunken hookup with somebody and she was greatly remorseful? You said that the emotional affair, you would potentially divorce your wife over that situation.
Absolutely.
That's not biblical.
It is biblical.
How?
Okay. When Jesus said, in the law, it was taught that you could divorce your wife if you present her with a certificate of divorce, basically going through the synagogue. He said, I tell you, if you even look upon a woman with lustful intent, then you have already committed adultery with her in your heart. In the situation that we were talking about earlier, she committed adultery in her heart. Like that is she has an adulterous heart in that situation. Therefore, it is biblical to divorce her in that situation.
I mean, that's a slippery slope.
It's not a slippery slope.
So every time
that's red letters.
Hold on. So let's just say that you're a good, righteous fella, and there's this woman who should really be wearing 2 shirts.
Yeah.
Comes by and swinging them jugs past you, and it's something animal in a male to be like, oh, shoo, and
you can't.
Should you? Is that grounds for a divorce?
Hold on now. A very wise woman once told me this: you can't stop a bird from flying over your head, but you can prevent it from building a nest in your hair. You're going to notice people when you're out and about in society. We went on a cruise years ago before either one of us were married, and on that little. We had that little excursion where we went on that, went on a tour of the island or whatever, and we happened to cross a nude beach. And you and I were like trading turns with the sunglasses that we didn't look like creeps. In that situation, yes, we were allowing the bird to build a nest in our hair. We were operating in a spirit, in a heart of lust, which was sinful and wrong. Had we just happened on there and be like, whoa, you got some tatas out. And then averted our eyes and didn't allow the bird to build a nest in our hair, then we wouldn't have been operating in a spirit of lust and in sinfulness. We would have been operating in, okay, we noticed because we're not blind, right, and they're out.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
That is the difference. I know. Yeah. Okay, so you're saying that there is grounds for divorce for that 6-month situation.
Absolutely.
Going back to this prompt, you don't think that there's grounds for divorce for her being a habitual liar and going, no pun intended, and going completely nuclear and taking your family legacy away. just because it's not directly talked about in the Bible.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of hold on.
From a covenantal perspective.
I know, but there's a lot of things that's not covered in the Bible. Like for example, if one of the parties molest, one of the kids, is that in the Bible to divorce the person?
No, you're right. It's not.
It's not. But would you divorce that person?
Well, yeah, you got to protect your kids. Okay.
But what if that person takes your entire lineage? Let's say you wanted 3, 4, 5 kids, and then their kids, and then their kids, and they're taking your bloodline away voluntarily.
Okay. And to thresh this out, I'm externally processing this, trying to understand that perspective. You entered the marriage with the understanding of you were having kids. Mm-hmm. Therefore, she lied and violated a core tenet of why your marriage was being established.
Right.
Like had you had that information before you married her, would that have changed your mind about marrying her?
Yeah. And let's say that you have that conversation beforehand. Let's give the benefit of the doubt to the guy and say that he told his fiance and said, listen, I want 3 kids. I want 4 kids.
Right.
Yeah, so do I. Okay, cool. This is going to work. We're on the same path. Right? He didn't explicitly say, I will divorce you, and it's written in our marriage contract. But you're agreeing to terms.
To a degree, but then that's taking it back, just threshing this out, that's taking it back to this whole idea that marriage is a contract and not a covenant.
Well, it's both.
Well, also, people can grow and people can change their minds. I know that you and your wife, for a while there, you were thinking about not having kids.
Yeah,
and
together, we had that opinion.
No, it's true. I'm not saying that you didn't have that opinion together, but you also molded and you moved together and you both changed your minds about that. Mm-hmm. It is possible for someone to change their mind about something over time.
And to your point with this anecdotal piece with me and Jess, but there was a season to where she didn't know how she felt, and I was like, I don't want kids.
Right.
And I told her at that time, I said, listen, I'll have kids if you were absolutely like, I need to have kids for us to be in a marriage together. I said, I would have kids, but I would be reluctant in doing so. Like I saw that was extremely selfish for me to just go nuclear and say, I don't want kids. Like it's one of the most selfish things ever.
Yeah, I agree.
Right. Especially when, your relationship was being established and you said, yeah, I think one day I'd like to. But I don't know. Just going back to the conversation, I do think it's grounds for a divorce.
And I don't.
You're sticking with it.
I'm sticking with it. It is not, while crappy and while a horrible thing to do, I don't think that by itself is grounds for divorce.
Well,
not for believers.
Right. And to your point, like if people are not believers and they're essentially just kind of like
you
playing
can get
house.
married because you don't like the color of their, or you can get divorced if you don't like the color of their shirt.
Yeah. I mean, we're not talking legally. We're talking biblically.
Right. We're talking from a moral perspective. If you don't have the Christian ethos and the Christian worldview, then you can't be held to the Christian morality in that sense. Now, it's still, in my opinion, it's still objective truth, objective reality. It's still wrong. You're still going to answer for that one day. It's still sin. But culturally, we can't hold you accountable to our same level that we should hold to believers.
I agree. Well, we disagree. Because morally, I think that you have an absolute right with somebody who is, whether it be, messing with your kids or whether it be cutting off your entire, bloodline, right, or whatever it is that's not exactly described in the Bible, I believe. And I mean, to your point, wasn't Jesus asked directly, what are the ways that you can get a divorce?
Yeah.
And he describes the two. But I think that it's...
Well, he basically said sexual immorality. Like, you got to cheat on her.
Yeah, I get that. Well, I'm sticking with mine, though.
Or likewise.
All right. So for our subscribers or subscriber, hey, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
I need you all to, in the comments, to let me know what you think. Because
Who was right?
I'm probably going crazy here. Because there's a lot of times it seems like every prompt we vehemently disagree.
Sometimes we agree.
Sometimes. It's like 80% of the time we don't agree, which makes for good content. But
True. And fun conversation.
Yeah, but I want to see if we like averaged all of the prompts out, like who has more of the people on their side. So
vote now.
Vote now in the comments below. Thanks for watching.
Vote time.